gotta say, the more I go through these new Ibex models, the more impressed I am with how much they listened and how many of your preferences they implemented here. My name is Josh the RV Nerd. Welcome to Bish's RV. We're in the Forest River preview bunker over here, as you can obviously tell. But the good news is we got some really sharp trailers to look at today. This model right here, you can get a couple of key different ways with or without the Black Canyon Beast Mode package. So if you get it without, it's a very, functional, normal, laminated type RV, but there's some key clutch detail features here, like it's extra tall inside. It has a larger air conditioner standard. A lot of RVs do have that bigger air standard, but not all of them. Carpetless, ventless, easy cleaning. You've got the move bunk, get out the way, ludicrous cargo system in the back here. And because this has that extra tall 6'10" floor to ceiling clearance, you have a lot of room between the bunks. So if you have more than just little kids camping with you, it just gives them a little bit more of a comfort experience. Or an adult like me can actually stand in the shower. And then you can really fumigate the Fajita Friday, fun, basically, with the XL bathroom vent fan that they have in here. Now, this is a 60 by 80 true queen bed. It is a bendy bed Murphy bed system, though, so kind of keep that in mind. We're going to show you the ins and the outs of all that. We have 12-volt holding tank heat pad standard, plus a forced air enclosed heated belly. We have 200 watts of factory standard solar, and that's where it gets fun. We're looking at one today with the Black Canyon Beast Mode package. It adds a second solar panel to give you 400 watts. It adds a 2,000 watt inverter. It adds a max air vent cover for your bathroom vent, a water filtration system, and I think the most key feature of it, the Beast Mode suspension package. And I don't care if you plan to go off-road or not. If you want to keep an RV in better shape, give it a better suspension so it's not rattle trapping to death going down the road, this one gives you the option of doing that, where very few others do. Now, how this RV strikes you and how it functions for you is going to be very dependent on your personal preferences, because there's some things this camper does really, really well, some extremely cool features, and there are some things you probably won't like at all. Up top here, we do have a 15,000 BTU central air system, and I want to make sure I put that central word in there. When you're in a primarily one cabin RV like this, not every builder is going to centralize the air conditioner, so the bathroom doesn't always end up getting very cool. You don't have to worry about that here. Ibex models with a private bedroom can be built with a second air conditioner. This doesn't have a private bedroom, so this would not be one of those. The 12-volt smart TV obviously can pivot around, which is something that I do like. And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but I lost some kitchen cabinetry there. Because we have this big peninsula countertop down below, I don't necessarily mind, because what they did is, instead of putting a couple small cabinets up here that would be hard to reach, they gave you a large pantry elsewhere in the RV, basically between the bathroom and the dinette, that you can actually use. Now, because they went with the extra large peninsula countertop, this little camper has, I think, reasonable prep space and counter space. It's not, holy cow, Martha, look at this, but it's not terrible. And I personally really like these breakfast bar kind of situations. I like these. I like these a lot. And if you don't, or if you just don't need them, you could always just get rid of the chairs. And that could be a perfect little, I don't know, cat litter box, dog bed, dog dishes, or just open space. Nothing says you necessarily have to use them that way. I am a little bit surprised. I don't know if they found a way to just barely nail this for fire code, or if they maybe missed to see roll down shades. Come on. There we go. Slow rise roll down shades next to a fire source like this. I'm going to double check on that to make sure that that's all safe up to fire code. You do have a 3-burner stovetop over here. And behind it, you have, it kind of looks like a backsplash, but this is basically just a travel spot for this awesome hardwood cutting board, which doubles as your sink cover. And finally, some brand with a little cup sprayer attachment down there realized that you have to cut your sink cover a little bit shorter to be able to jive with the sink cover. So, or with the, you get it. They left room for the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. The new Hammerhead high-rise sprayer faucet. First of all, you do have just a direct sprayer, but you also have the little waterfall edge, so you can kind of choose how you want to put this thing a little bit. I'm not left-handed, so that looks very awkward when I try to manipulate it. I really appreciate also putting the power outlets right down low at appliance central, because otherwise they can be a pain in the butt to reach. Now, if you remember, when we came around the stovetop, you didn't see an oven, and you won't see an oven. Ibex does not do ovens. They leave you a huge chunk of storage that'll get open. You know what? I'll come back and I'll open the rest of the storage, but as long as we're sitting here talking about it, I'm just going to go ahead and pop this thing open. That's a massive chunk of space. That's some, like, a lot of people, frankly, the vast majority of people do not use ovens in RVs. And I know that it is regional. I know that my southern cousins need that oven for their cookies and the biscuits, and that's okay. I respect it. Maybe this isn't the right camper for you, but that is a 3-in-1 electric oven, which you can cook cookies and biscuits in that thing. But if you're park camping, it works just fine. If you're boondock dry camping, it becomes a little trickier, because obviously you're going to need to have a generator or something like that available to you. Now, this is one of those things that I go, like, I like the windows all the way around the slide. They give you some nice visibility. The windows are not really well located on the campsite, though. As silly as this sounds, it's actually because of the entry door that you can't do it. I'll explain that in the comment section if you want me to. But I have a dinette here, a 4-person dinette, and a 2-person breakfast bar. I don't know that I feel like I don't need 2 dining areas in one small RV. That's my 2 cents. I would like it if there was some kind of sofa swaption in that slide. I don't think they offer one, though. That is a 10 cubic foot, 12-volt compressor fridge. And over here, we've got the ludicrous move bunk, get out the way cargo system. The only way I think this could get any better is if they left us a couple cargo tie downs right there, because you could probably give this thing what I call a kayakoscopy straight up its backside if you were so inclined. But you might notice also how you do have that ladder, which I have slid out of the way currently. It would normally bracket in place on there to get you into the bunks. Is there a sticker? Let me check the bunk ratings. Some manufacturers are really good about giving me a sticker to share with you. Some are not. This is one of the are nots, apparently. So offhand, I don't know the bunk rating. Apologies there. I'll try to get you an answer for that later. I do appreciate the individual curtains. I like how each bunk has its own window. And because we have a 4-inch taller ceiling in an Ibex, tandem axle Ibex specifically, that means that we have 2 extra inches of clearance per bunk. That's not nothing. And that doesn't suck to me. I like when you get in one of these, I don't even know how well it's showing on camera, but when you get in one in person, you can see, feel, and experience the extra space that you have there. Now, it is a peekaboo, I smell you bathroom door, but they have it that way because they have adopted the XL vent fan up here. The thing is, if they didn't allow the ventilation to sweep in above the door right there, when you get these bigger vent fans, one of the challenges that you can run into is that fan can actually pull so much air that if this room was essentially kind of sealed off, it could pull the stink from the black tank up into the living cavity of the RV. And that sucks. But look at this. Just excellent space around that toilet right there. And this is one of those retractable kind of shower doors. But with that taller ceiling, even wearing shoes and a hat and everything, I can still stand up in that shower and have plenty of comfortable headroom. I'm at a terrible angle to display it over here. We do have a, let me get you inside here just a second. All right, and here's your point of view now that you got in the shower with your Uncle Josh here. Yeah, sometimes I should probably think about what I say before it comes out of my mouth. But here we are, moving on. When you open this up, the medicine cabinet you thought was probably going to be bigger, but the mirror is extra large because it also basically is a toothbrush holder, which I think is kind of a cool little 2-in-1 feature. And I don't think you've had a chance to see these yet, but they put a couple little towel hooks over here on the wall. Nothing major, but just enough, And if you had to, you could always dangle an extra towel just like over the shower door rail thing. You know what I mean? Now, up front here, we've got this Murphy sofa, and it is the thing that gives us, it gives this RV the space and the features of a super slide without having the length, weight, and cost of a super slide. Now, some people hate Murphy beds, and some people are very intrigued by this idea. The cool thing on this floor plan, if you hate a Murphy bed, you could literally just ignore the fact that it's a Murphy bed and put in any 60 by 80 true queen bed that you could ever imagine. So, you know, there's ways around it. I would say if you hate a Murphy bed, don't necessarily write this floor plan off quite yet. The dinette obviously folds down to a little sleeper. I haven't demoed that yet, and you can see how there are doors to access the storage below the dinette. Slide side breeze windows, all blackout roller shades. Interestingly, this window is only here for panoramic viewing. The big window here does not open for airflow, but as you see, you do have your cross breeze capacity going on over here. I got kind of distracted from the Murphy bed thing. Sorry. Let's get back up here. I want to show you how it works, and then I'll get back behind the camera real quick. First of all, though, my Burt Reynolds pose. I don't know what it is. Every time I do the Burt Reynolds pose, I always want to go get myself a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper. Anybody pick up that reference? Anyway, so a couple things on the sofa up front here. You might have noticed I'm a little too long to just straight lay across it. Plus, you've got the big side stands here. The good news is I don't really generally need to do that. If I'm going to lay down, I'm just going to use the bed. I do want you to know that it is a little bit of what I call a simulated cinema sofa with the little fold-down double cup holder armrest. But that's one of the reasons I love these side stands. One, if I'm sitting here, it just kind of gives me something to lean on, which I appreciate. It sort of doubles as an armrest instead of those random cushions some campers have that just float and fall all over the place. But every time I sit down for dinner, and my family, we eat at the couch quite a bit. Sometimes at the dinner table, sometimes at the couch. But I'll sit down, get my plate, go to grab a drink, and I forgot my drink in the kitchen. I like just having a place I can sit down, a plate, or charge my phone or whatever. It's nothing major. This right here is just a simple jackknife sofa. You pull it up, flop it down, rawhide. This here, one of the things I like about this is that it's just a quick latch. So putting this away, very simple and easy. I also really like how cleanly they finished off this whole deck, and the fact that even though it's a flopsy-dropsy deck, it creates a smoother, flatter surface. Some Murphy beds just lay on top of the sofa, and then you've got, if you're the princess and the pea, you can feel all the weird, funny creases. Of course, if you have one of these, I mean, the best mattress ever, he said facetiously. You know, that's kind of what this is right here. Now, you may have noticed in the Burt Reynolds footage, I kicked my shoes off. That's because this is a 60 by 80 true queen. Most Murphy beds are some variety of short queen. Some as short as 72 inches like the Bunks. I don't know why all Bunks are 72 inches, but most, they generally speaking are. But because this is a full 60 by 80 Murphy bed, I can actually still lay down here. Now, in case you're curious, you do have this privacy shade up front, and it does have these handy-dandy little clips where you can lock this thing in place so that you don't, you know, end up scorching your scalp, just hypothetically speaking, and losing a bunch of your hair, for say. You know, I'm just going to throw that out there. Now, what you can't see, and maybe Uncle Garrett or Cousin Garrett, rather, can throw some footage over here, is behind these wardrobe towers, you have what I call the headboard power pockets. So there are household and USB outlets and some shelves back there. So whether it's extra hats or phone charging or books or whatever you need, they're available. But this is very simple and easy to put away because it has the quick latch. Throw it up, flop it, lock it, you're done. Now the sofa, you pull up from the bottom. Once it stops going, pull in from the back, and it just slots right in place. And there you go. Even with me talking, pretty quick and easy. You could do it a lot faster if I wasn't sitting here jack-jawing the whole time. And if you appreciate the extra demos and jumping in front of the camera and stuff like this, let me know, because this stuff takes a lot of extra time and effort. But as long as you want to see it, I'll keep doing it. And again, remember, if you're like, I don't like that Murphy bed, I don't care about the Murphy bed, don't use it like a Murphy bed. I will say some kind of privacy curtain in front of that bed, I think a lot of people would appreciate. I think that's one of those things a lot of RV factory brand managers just kind of, I don't know, they either put a wall there or they don't, and they just kind of don't think about it sometimes. So that's something I'm going to recommend. All right, don't get me fired, Garrett. How would you decorate this big blank wall? And viewers at home, if you're willing to share, how would you decorate the bottom of that Murphy bed right there? Backing up a little bit, I mentioned it occurs to me we haven't looked at like any of the storage of this camper, so I probably want to start doing that right about meow. But you know, both sides of the dinette have the storage access there that can obviously fold down into a small sleeper. It's not the world's biggest sleeper by any stretch. Weave my way around the corner over here. I say this on every Ibex. I wish they didn't put that shelf below the sink. Maybe some people really like it. If you do, let me know. The reason I'm not a fan is because I would prefer that to be space for like a trash can, a wastebasket, something like that. You this is probably not like, wow, I never knew that's what the inside of that like 3-in-1 electric oven looked like. But I figure as long as we're talking about it, I'd go ahead and open that up so you can see it. They are also using a larger 10 cubic foot 12-volt compressor fridge. I say that like a lot of brands were using this, and now a bunch of companies have very silently sized down to 8 cubic foots. So keep that in mind. Keep an eye on that. That's the kind of... It's funny how sometimes when the RV industry updates something and they add a feature or make it bigger, boy, they like to let you know. But when they remove stuff or shrink it, it's funny how that never seems to make the update list. That's just sort of one of those things that you happen to discover later. You know what I mean? And I want you to always know as much as you possibly can when you're going through one of my videos. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera right there. Now, what I'm not sure about, when you run into these peninsula countertops across from a slide, a lot of times it makes the road mode access a little tricky. I can't remember how this one plays out. Yeah, it's going to be close. I might be able to skinny leg sidestep through there, but I wanted to also put the Murphy bed back down because I mentioned if you don't want it to be a Murphy bed, don't make it a Murphy bed. This is a 60 by 80 True Queen bed sticking out down here with room to spare. So, you know, getting around the bed even at a travel stop is not too bad. Now, what I am not sure about, because we do have that like dinette door handle sticking down, I might rip my calf apart attempting this. I'm going to see if I can slide through here. Okay. Ooh. A little bit of scraping on the calf, but not the end of the world. I'm also not saying I would want to do this given the choice. You can probably see from the camera work how awkward it was doing the sideways stutter steps, but I made it. It's not perfect, and a little kid would probably navigate it more easily than me. And if you have thick thighs that save lives, you might not necessarily make it yourself. I'm just trying to be real about what is and what isn't. But if you appreciate how I put my calf health on the line for you, hit that subscribe button. We'll hop outdoors. Let's talk towing, shall we? Now, this one I do think can qualify for that general descriptor of half-ton towable. I always like to throw the phrase potentially in there because it really depends on the capacities of your half-ton as well as where are you planning on taking the RV? Are you going to go up and down insane mountains and stuff? You might want to bump the vehicle up. Now, some friends of mine who were full-time family RVers, Jason and Abby, you might recognize them from their work on RV Miles. They are an awesome resource to the camping community, and they have absolutely no affiliation with Bish's RV. If a YouTuber like myself recommends you check out another YouTuber, it's because they must be really good at what they do. I love the clear information they provide, but one of the things that I noticed is they took some serious long-distance camping trips, and some of those up to Alaska. And anyone who knows those, like, if you say the phrase Alaska roads to experienced RVers, they start going, ooh, that's rough stuff. Ibex, and I think it was this model with the Beast Mode suspension package, was the thing they chose to make that adventure. And I followed up with them later. I said, hey guys, just being candid, how'd it handle? And they said, frankly, we've been pretty impressed with it. It's held up very, very well. Now, I'll never sit here and say I've ever seen the perfect RV, but I stand by. I will live and die by the sentiment that if you want an RV to stay out of the shop, get an RV with a better suspension. And the optional package that we're looking at here today is exactly that. Now, before we get there, a couple details up front. Tire pressure monitoring, factory standard on here. Of course, your battery disconnect is that big red switch. You also see the handy little drunken uncle leash latch right up here by the tongue, because if Uncle Gary ties one on, you got to tie him onto the camper before he starts getting naked and singing "The Old Gray Mare Ain't What She Used to Be" through the campground again. There's three places in Indiana we're probably not going to be welcome back to after a potato salad incident, but never mind all that. There are motion-activated lights on both sides of that front pass-through. You might see that pink cylinder over there in the distance. That's actually your water filtration system, which is one of, I think, 5 parts of the Black Canyon Beast Mode package. On top of that, you've also got double the solar on this for 400 watts and a 2,000 watt inverter. That was the black square or rectangle in the bottom left corner of that front pass-through that said WIFCO on it. What else? Oh, of course, the Beast Mode suspension package. That's kind of what it's sort of named after. Ibex has also become exceptionally good at maximizing awning space on every floor plan wherever they really can. I want to give them credit where it's due. They've done some really good work right there. Floor plans like this, though, are tricky. I don't personally prefer a campside-facing water heater, but I think Ibex navigated it as good as they could. Basically, because they have the cargo bunk system, they don't have the opportunity to put the water heater anywhere else except buried under the kitchen cabinetry. But notice how they put the exhaust on that high. So it's harder for little kids who get curious with their little fingers to touch hot surfaces. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying they did the best they could given the restraints they had to work with this floor plan. So I want to give them credit there. A little outdoor griddle cooking station working up for you. I also appreciate the little details, like the motion lighting in this rear storage compartment right here. If I'd opened this up and there was no lights in it whatsoever, I wouldn't have been offended, but even one little motion light makes this so simple and easy. Now, we are looking at the optional suspension package here, this 4-wheel, true independent, Kurt trailing arm off-road suspension. That's a lot of words. But every single one of those words matter. This is, in my nerdy opinion and personal towing experience, the best riding and best handling suspension package I've ever personally experienced in a travel trailer. I won't sit here and tell you I've been in and out of every single suspension package available on every single RV in the entire marketplace, but I have experience with most of them. I like this. I like what they are doing with this. It is optional, so again, keep in mind that's not factory standard. Normally you have a leaf spring package, but even the tires on an Ibex are always going to be a step above what you commonly find throughout the industry. They're always going to be at least an all-terrain tire. Their worst tire on Ibex is better than what some brands even offer as an option. I think that's very, very cool. The receiver hitch on the back here, also very handy. If you got like a generator tray, a cargo rack, a bike rack, or something like that, you could put that on here. You might notice she is ladder prepped. It is a PVC membrane, fully walkable roof. Now, PVC membranes basically require no specific maintenance themselves, and they reflect more of the sun's UV rays. What I did not say is this RV has a maintenance-free roof. If someone ever tells you that, run away from them as fast as you can, because it doesn't necessarily even matter what the roof membrane is. Every RV has seals up there, and seals are the weakest link in the chain. You still need to be responsible for taking care of your seals. Now, this is a step-up Schwintek slide system right here. If you notice, though, especially when the Beast Mode package is present, it occupies and overlaps the space where a rack and pinion ram bar could otherwise be located. So this floor plan, because of the better suspension, cannot be built with a through frame slide system. Theoretically, they could do some cable slide executions, but not everybody likes those either. Every RV has its ups, downs, ins, and outs. I just want you to know what's what so you can make an educated decision and choose what you'd like. You may have also noticed one last handy feature, the single sewer outlet location on the back of this makes that whole not fun thing, not anymore, not fun. I think if you carry the one, that made sense. We're going to roll with it. So thanks again for tuning in. If you're curious or serious about the price tag of this one, or if you want to see, okay, this is neat, but what other options are there with similar kind of floor plans? Check my links in the video description. I'll leave you some similar floor plans. I'll leave you links for pricing and availability. You can compare all of that at your pace and leisure. No need to necessarily pick up the phone and speak with a salesperson. Our goal at Bish's RV is to make camping simple, fun, and easy, which is also one of the reasons why we don't tack on thousands of dollars of hidden fees onto our purchases here. The price tag is the price tag. Just add taxes and tags. So we try to make that a simpler experience for you. And basically, let me know what you think about this one. When you're ready, we're ready. We'll see you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.